this Republican-led Congress is leading the nation crisis by crisis that they create on their own.
Crisis by crisis. We heard that before when Harry Reid was in charge of the Senate. That's Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid warning that we're headed for another showdown, and both sides are talking about another budget crisis coming this September. So let's start our roundtable.
And joining us is Republican strategist Ford O'Connell. Thanks so much. How you doing on this Thursday?
All right, so Ford,
let me tell you, it's about 95 degrees here in Washington, D.C., and I'm lucky I'm not sweating on the set.
Yeah.
I love the fact that in Washington, you basically got two seasons. It's always cold or it's always really, really hot. Now it's swamp time up there in Washington, D.C. Ford, if you can't stand the heat, you know what they say, get out of the kitchen.
Get out of the kitchen?
All right, so things are getting pretty heated on Capitol Hill. We got the TPP, TPA going on, and then we got these spending fights on the side, and also we got Democrats and Republicans wrangling over what's going to happen if the Supreme Court throws out these subsidies with Obamacare. Do you really think we could be headed for another showdown?
Well, at least on the budget side, this is the Machiavelli from Nevada. He wants to have a shutdown basically so that Republicans look bad heading into a presidential election. Herein lies the problem. The Republicans want to pull the sequester caps off of military spending, and the Democrats want to pull the sequester caps off of all domestic spending. So there's going to have to be a meeting in the middle here, but chances are the Republicans are going to do everything possible not to have a budget shutdown this fall.
Do you think this trade bill is going to pass?
It's going to be really close. Let me say this. You're going to need 218 votes in the House. Right now, we've passed it to the Senate. Understand, the bill hasn't passed here. What happens is the fast-track authority. That's the process part of this. And right now, we have 89 members in the United States House that are undecided, and the vote stands right now at 129 for, 159 against. And the question is how many more Republicans are going to jump ship, and can the Republicans get 20 to 25 Democrats? If they can, this will pass. But remember, that's just the process part. Then it comes to whether it's an up or down, so who knows? There's a lot of permutations and combinations here.
So, Ford, who are the key players in all this that are still on the fence on the Republican side that could swing this thing?
Well, there's a whole bunch that are sitting in a lot of moderate states that are concerned about election and wondering how much the white working class voter is going to be hacked off by the TPP. And the problem is they've got to make the case that this isn't going to affect current wages, and that supporting this bill is about national security and the global economy, because if we don't pull these 12 countries in, guess what? They're going to get sucked into China's orbit, and our economy is really going to go in the tank.
Now, we had Ed on earlier, and he was saying he spoke with somebody who said basically even if certain people are in favor, they're not going to go for it because Obama's in office. Is there some truth to that?
No, because this is something that a lot of folks on the GOP side really want. The problem here is we have 236 members in the House, and about 40 to 50 don't want it because they are under the assumption it's going to drive down wages. Republicans, for the most part, are in favor of this, but we're going to still need some Democrats to get over the hump here.
All right, we'll talk about the uphill challenge facing some of these Democrats and the active role that labor is playing in trying to defeat this coming up in a bit. But I do want to talk about 2 minutes left, Ford, before we go to commercial break, about what's going to happen with King v. Burwell, the Supreme Court case. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell talking on Fox News about the pending decision, and that Republicans do have a plan here. Let's listen to Mitch.
We'll have a proposal that protects the American people from a very bad law. Obamacare was the single worst piece of legislation that's been passed in the last half century.
Now, Ford, you've got Ron Johnson talking about a proposal. You got Senator Bill Cassidy talking about a proposal as well. And Mitch McConnell kind of dancing around the edges saying we got something, but we're not going to get into specifics. Does he run the risk of being too vague here?
No, he actually doesn't. Herein lies the problem. One, we don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do, and that's really going to judge which of these 5 options that are floating around the United States Senate they're most likely going to back. The other problem that Mitch McConnell has, if you want me to read between the lines, is he can't find one of these 5 proposals that he can get 60 votes behind in the United States Senate. So right now his bottom line is I'm going to blame Obama until I can unify and not lean one way just in case one of these plans actually works out.
Somebody's got to read between the lines, Ford. There's a lot going on here with this issue. You talk about 5 possible plans out there. Is there some infighting going on in the upper chamber about this?
Oh, there's a ton of infighting, but for the first time ever, Republicans aren't airing their dirty laundry out in public. Here's the plan that most of them want to do, and that is they want to extend the subsidies until basically after the 2016 election, because that way in a lot of these states we will wind up keeping the Senate. If we don't extend the subsidies at all, we're talking about 6.3 million subsidies, 2.2 million in red states, what's going to happen is we very well could lose the Senate in a very challenging math, regardless of whether or not the Republicans win the White House.
Yeah, we've reported here on how a lot of those subsidies are going to red states, and those same red states and also the swing states have very difficult contests for incumbent Republican senators in the 2016 senatorial election
they're
cycle.
They're kind of in a tough spot.
Always an election behind almost everything that happens up there, of course, and that's the way the system is built. We're going to have Ford O'Connell stick around for us. We're going to talk a little bit more about the TPP and organized labor's plan to attack Democrats. That's right, organized labor attacking Democrats over the president's trade authority and the TPP, the trade promotion deal. Interesting stuff. And we still don't really know what it is.
No, I mean, we kind of do, kind of don't. I don't know. We'll talk more about it coming up next.
Please welcome back for part two of our roundtable, Republican strategist and chairman of the Civic Forum PAC, Ford O'Connell. It's good to have you with us. Let's talk a little bit more, guys, about these trade deals. The fight for fast-track trade authority is coming down to the final day now, I guess. Maybe
tomorrow.
Final
right?
hours. Tomorrow we're expecting the vote. Republicans and Democrats are taking side. In the campaign for America's future, a PAC here collected the names of 19 Democrats, and they are calling them the Hall of Shame. Democrats really taking on the chin from organized labor. And if you take a close look there, there's a woman named Kathleen Rice, who's a congressman on the bottom right of the screen. And this is what the AFL-CIO had to say about her support of TPP.
Which Kathleen Rice can we trust? In January, Congresswoman Rice wrote a letter to President Obama saying she opposed fast-track trade authority because it would send American jobs offshore and push down wages. In April, she said it again. On Saturday, Rice flip-flopped and now supports exactly that bad policy that experts say costs millions of American jobs we can't afford to lose. Actions speak louder than words. Why should we ever trust Kathleen Rice again?
First off, that woman's voice always scares me. Number two, the piano music. Maybe a little trite now in these campaign ads.
Ford,
But also,
which one can we trust?
But Ford,
Is she flip-flop? I was trying.
You're doing a great job.
Is that
That's
okay?
actually Miranda's voice there sometimes.
That was my voice, okay.
Not really. But we look at this as a case study in what's the difficult spot these Democratic Democratic congresspeople are in right now, taking it on the chin from organized labor. Is this across the board? We know this is the AFL-CIO here, but are all the other big labor groups taking a similar stance?
Well, it's not just the labor groups. It's also the Center for American Progress, which is the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. They're pretty much in unison here. Now, understand that there's a couple of other folks who are really taking it on the chin, even more than the last negative ad, and that's Henry Cuellar down in Laredo, Texas, and Jerry Connolly up here in Virginia. They are trying to push every which way because they know the vote is going to be that close. But there's one missing voice in all this, John and Miranda. Can you guess who that is?
Let me guess. Wait, I hear crickets. Hillary Clinton?
Exactly. Basically, President Obama needs Hillary Clinton to weigh in if they're going to get this over the hump. I think they will eventually get it over the hump, but understand what's going on in the Democratic Party. You have the Center for American Progress, which is the left of the left, joining with the trade unions. And if you're Hillary Clinton, the problem is you want to support the bill because if you don't get enough black voters in 2016, you're going to wind up losing the map here. So Hillary Clinton is really actually caught between a rock and a hard place. The base of the Democratic Party and making sure enough black voters turn out in 2016 in her favor.
Yeah, I want to ask you that there seems to be, and John and I were talking about this, so much confusion over the bill because we don't really know what it is. It's been in the works forever. You have
we know what
a vast majority of Republicans.
You can define it in a sentence. You know, the TPA is the Trade Promotion Authority, and the TPP is a Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership. But other than that, we really don't know what it's going to mean for this country.
No, because you just have people coming out there saying it's going to take jobs away, and then you have a lot of people support it saying, no, it's going to increase competition and give U.S. companies a chance to go overseas, and that's going to be better for our economy. It gets complicated.
But when you look at Hillary, you know, and I'm not one to really plead her case here, but she is in a very difficult spot, and also because she's basically, no matter what she says, is going to put her thumb on the scale in a big way, one way or the other. Is she not?
That's absolutely right, and that's why she's probably going to stay out of this as long as possible. In fact, Jen Psaki, who's the communications director for President Obama, took to MSNBC yesterday morning screaming at Hillary Clinton, saying, Hillary, you're the one who promoted this, and now you're silent with the crickets. Here's the thing. let's say we get this over the hump here, the TPP bill. Understand that this is the process. What it allows the United States Senate to do is an up or down vote with no amendments to it. If this bill passes and we get the trade deal, which there's a reason why it's in secret, the Senate will then have 30 to 45 days to review it. So you will actually get the full text of the trade bill. This is about the process, and that's what's getting bastardized in this argument.
Well, Ford, I also want to ask you, you mentioned Hillary Clinton and the need for her to draw black voters to the polls here. Interesting you note that, because the Washington Post reports that black voters right now are wondering if it's even worth it this time around. President Obama ran a campaign on change, and now presidential candidate Hillary Clinton faces a, quote, higher bar in making the case for that too. She too can be a transformative figure, but that's the difficult bind she's in. What do you think will be more influential as we look at the pool of voters here in 2016 for Democrats, the black Democrats who came out for President Obama who may stay home this time, or the Reagan Democrats who might get spurned and burned by this trade deal?
Well, understand, the most important group for Hillary Clinton right now, other than unmarried women under the age of 50, is the black voter. And understand, the black voters are 13.2% of the population of the nation. We have 7 battleground states. And without going through the 7, understand the 3 key ones for Hillary Clinton are Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida. And in those 3 states, black voters are much higher than the 13.2%. In fact, they go anywhere from 18 to 22%. Now, no Republican, since Gerald Ford has won more than 15% of the black vote, but we have to not get caught up in the game of percentage versus numbers. She's going to get 90 to 95% of the black vote. The question is whether she gets the raw numbers to put her over the top, particularly in places like Duval County,
that's right,
in Florida.
She's got to get him out to the polls,
Mecklenburg County and Charlotte.
She's got to get him out to the polls. We'll see if that happens. Ford O'Connell, chairman of the Civic Forum PAC. Always great to talk with you, sir.